What's good, Seibelmania Friends? Welcome back to another podcast. This is I believe, episode 3 of this podcast, and I am joined by my very good, close, personal friend, uh, Zach Ervin. Zach, what's up, man?
I'm much glad you about forgot my name there.
I did actually. I've had a busy week, so my mind's not exactly right all there today. So
I
anyway,
understand.
How are you today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm got a day off, so I'm relaxing.
Hey, there you go. That's what's up. I'm relaxing as well. I got a new addition to the family yesterday. For those of you who don't know, I got a brand new puppy. His name is Jax. He's a Doberman Shepherd mix, and he is a sweet sweetheart. Just the best dog in the world. He's actually Zach. He's actually a really good boy. He's very good about going to the bathroom outside, and he's very good about sleeping in his crate at night. So that's nice. Um, so yeah,
Man, most shelters they've usually got them trained, you know.
that's what I thought too. But I don't know. But that's what I thought too. My mom did too. But there's some things he's not very good at. But I mean, he's good at going potty outside, and so that's nice at least.
It's like they got the fundamentals down.
Right. And he still had an accident in the house yesterday, but that's because nobody was paying attention to letting him out. He was telling people, hey, let me out. And everybody was kind of doting off. But anyway, so yeah, that's about what I did yesterday. And yeah, he's just fantastic. So we've just been hanging out a lot with him and just playing with him and getting him acclimated to the family and getting him acclimated to our new house. I personally am very interested in seeing how he will do. I don't know if you know this or not, Zach. I got two little nephews. I have a 4-year-old nephew. I got a 1-year-old nephew, and so I'm very excited to see them play for the first time. They're out camping this week, so they don't get to meet him yet. But
I'm sure they'll be happy.
oh yeah, but enough about me. Blah blah blah. Let's talk about wrestling for a second, because
I
that's um. So you were saying something to me last night about Carl Anderson. You want to sort of fill in the people on what you were telling me?
I mean, I was made aware of it yesterday morning that apparently his wife has accused him again of cheating. She said she woke up at a call at 3 a.m. from him, and there was a lot of partying, and there was women voices in the background.
Well, well,
She
well,
called him an alcoholic.
well. Hang on. So you say that she claims he cheated on her because he was partying with the boys and there were women in the background. Wrestlers partying with women is not a secret. That doesn't mean that they're cheating necessarily. So
Let's see if I can find what I have pulled up. I can't even find it now. I had seen the thing yesterday. She had put out some of his screenshotted. Not only after getting caught being unfaithful, you call your wife and mother of your 4 kids a slut. You're fake as hell. The life I've dealt with all these years, my kids are huge sacrifices of my own happiness.
okay.
Thought I could live through it, but I need to reevaluate my life. But yeah, this is. I'll send you the screenshot.
That's from his wife.
Yeah, it's
Okay, well, see now the slut thing. If he calls
from
her a slut, that's uncalled for.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't fully believe. I don't want to read too much into that without knowing everything. So,
Yeah.
but I'll say that that's
I understand that just what was going around. Some say it may be just a bit again, because this has happened before. Like November of last year, there was around going around about that.
So this is a reoccurring thing. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. If this is a reoccurring thing, then maybe she needs to make a move, or he needs to make a move. Somebody needs to do something to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. If
Yeah,
this is reoccurring, that's not good. It's not a good environment
uh,
for the kids, and it's not good for them. The stress, and
uh,
so yeah. So well, thank you for filling me in on that deep little story. But there were a few other stories I wanted to get into. Number one, what do you think about WWE and NJ or New Japan Pro Wrestling possibly working together?
ah,
Because news of that broke just a couple of days ago, so
yeah.
that's a popular topic. That I don't think I covered on my last podcast for some
I
reason.
have been thinking about that. Like, it's good for the wrestling business, but also bad because of how erratic WWE's booking is.
Right,
It could end very quickly because Japan is very protective of
of their
their
talent. That's right. Yes.
who because all it would take is like an Okada getting buried on WWE television. It would end it like that.
Hmm. And you talk about the erratic booking, but also what about AEW? Because AEW had a working relationship with New Japan as well. And by the way, we will get into Tony Khan's promo in just a moment from on Friday night. Don't worry, we'll get into that. But because we're gonna get into that. Don't you worry. But and before, but hang on, I gotta say this, Zach. Before people start accusing me of being WWE biased, I want you to go back listen to my other podcasts with Chris P.S. Martin and with Brandon Yelverton, where we equally were bashing WWE. So there's no bias on this channel. Just want to make that clear. We are not F4W Online. We are not Dave Meltzer. We are not Brian Alvarez. We we call out what's bad and we praise what is good. And that being said, yeah, AEW has a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, do you think that they're let's throw out the scenario that New Japan gets both WWE and AEW to work with them. Do you think that there is a slight possibility that if that happens, all three companies work together, that we see well in Impact? I guess you throw Impact in there too. So, is it possible? Do you think, Zach, that we see AEW versus WWE versus Impact versus NJPW on one show, or do you think that it's just going to be New Japan sending WWE some talent, WWE sending some talent to New Japan? Same thing with AEW, but the AEW guys and WWE guys don't cross.
Okay, the first part of that question, I'm gonna say this: hell has a better chance of freezing over before that ever happens, because what there was reported was the whole negotiation around it. Well, not including the whole Daniel Bryan part, is that it would be an exclusive partnership. So
Okay,
that means it will cut out Impact,
they would
AEW, all other American promotions.
they would cut out the middleman.
Yeah, it'd just be WWE and New Japan working together. And I mean, I could see it happening, but realistically, like I said before, it may not last long.
Hmm. Okay,
Because you seen what happened before early in the TNA days when New Japan had relationship with TNA. It took years to build that back up
right,
because of how TNA did, New Japan talent.
right. I'm gonna fix this real quick. It's can't. Anyway, okay, so let's go down this rabbit hole for just a split second. I apologize. I was going to see if I
Okay.
could hide that the link to the Facebook link thing, but I can't. So whatever. But so what do you think? Let's go down this rabbit hole and say that we do. It's a rabbit hole. It's a deep, deep, deep rabbit
Yeah,
hole. Let's just go down
a
there.
very tricky one.
Huh?
A very tricky one.
But let's go down this tricky rabbit hole. Let's say that we do get to see AEW versus WWE versus Impact versus New Japan. What are some matches that you, Zach, would like to see?
Ah, ah, dang, I had to really look at the roster. I had to have it in front of me, but goodness. I would like to say an Ace Austin versus a Seth Rollins versus a Will Ospreay.
It doesn't have to be four ways. It could be like one on ones or tags or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
See,
but
see,
yeah,
so for me, I'm sure this match has happened already in New Japan. I'd like to see Styles versus Okada, but I would also like to see uh Omega versus Drew McIntyre. That would be a good match, I think. Uh,
that would be a very good match.
that
And
would be
Styles Okada, it's happened a few times.
okay. Or Usos versus the Young Bucks. But think about how
That
many.
would be good.
But then you look at the match on paper, and you're like, oh, that'd be great. But then you look at the match on tape, you watch it as it happens. Think about how many super kicks it would be. The super kicks would be flying.
The internet, the wrestling community would go set on fire if that happened. With the amount of super kicks, the way some wrestling fans are,
Yeah,
they would just ruin the whole thing, no matter how good of a match it would be.
yeah, yeah. Um, I would also like to see, and but this, like I said, this is a deep, deep rabbit hole. I would like to see Roman Reigns and the Usos versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Talking about the Reigns and Uso, uh, Tomatonga actually, a lot of New Japan and WWE wrestlers have been sort of just poking fun out of the report of WWE and New Japan.
Right,
Like Tama put out Bullet Club versus Bloodline, which would be Bullet Club versus the Reigns Usos.
yeah,
Really,
yeah, 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 yeah.
that would be a fun match.
That would be a really good match. Or this. And by the way, I want it to be known. I'm giving Kenny Omega props here. I'm letting Omega believe he's the best wrestler in the world, although I do not think he is. Kenny Omega is not the best wrestler in the world. Contrary to what he believes, contrary to what Dave Meltzer believes, contrary to what Brian Alvarez believes. By the way, Zach, I'll let you know, we do a lot of Dave Meltzer, F4W, Brian Alvarez bashing on here, just so you know.
I'm starting to tell.
Okay. So I don't know how you feel about them, but I bash them.
I particularly don't care about Dave. I sort of seen about that whole Brody Lee thing. It Dave has really gone off the rails lately.
Facts. Yeah. And but I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, I was saying that Kenny Omega is not the best in the world. Kenny is, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel about him. I'll let you say your piece in a sec. But in my opinion, Kenny Omega is probably the most overrated wrestler in the world. What do you
I would
say?
agree.
You would agree? Yes, sir. Okay, well, hey, that's fantastic. Hey, to me, Kenny Omega, he lost me when he started wrestling blow up dolls and little kids. And I know that people will defend that and they'll say, "Well, that happened in Japan and in the promotion that it happened there and it worked for them." Well, It shouldn't have happened to begin with. That's the point that I would try to make to people is it happened. It should not have happened at all. I don't care about the promotion. I don't care about any of that. If the promotion allowed it, they need to have their license revoked. That was not okay. Number one. Number two, he should have his license as a professional wrestler. And I use that term lightly when describing him. He should have his license as a pro wrestler revoked. Because, in my opinion, none of that was okay, and none of that would fly in 2021 today. I don't. Well, no, it would. I think it would, unfortunately, and that sucks because it shouldn't. People should not be okay with that kind of thing. People should not. People should not allow that stuff to happen, and people should not make excuses for that to happen. So that's where I'm at with that. Do you agree?
Partially, I do. Yes, I do agree with the whole blow up dolls and wrestling a kid thing. That was, I would say, yes, it sort of tarnishes him as a wrestler, but I
And
say
quite,
he's overrated because of how much spotlight he was given. He was given the keys to the kingdom in Japan. But if you really look back, he was a guy who didn't make it in WWE, who couldn't make it through the developmental, but he was able to get himself over in Japan, which made him a huge star. I will
well,
admit he has some great matches, but some of them are overrated. But he is not the best wrestler in the world. I would have to agree with what JR had said. It would be Orton. I mean, Orton's.
Orton is really good.
I mean, as much as he's done in his career, and especially the trials and tribulations he put himself through, like with like he put out before he was fucked up, didn't show up to a rehearsal with a WrestleMania match against the Undertaker, one of the most well-known wrestlers
in the
in the
world.
world.
Okay, so you're going to go there with the best wrestler in the world. But let me ask this question real quick, and then I'll give my opinion on the best wrestler in the world. Um, why is Japan? Why is Japan when it comes to pro wrestling? Why is Japan held so highly? Like I watched Japanese wrestling, and to me, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but people hold it like it's like the mecca of professional wrestling, and it's not.
That I'm not too sure about, but I would have to assume of how prestigious it is and how considering who really ran it, which was Inoki.
Okay. Okay. So you want my take on the best wrestler in the world today? Um, I would probably say Orton. Look at his pedigree. Look at his background. Look at everything he's done in the business. And look at everything he's done for the business. And look at the wrestlers he's competed with. Of all time, oh, this is gonna get a lot of heat already. I could just feel the fire. I could feel the burns already from what I'm about to say.
All right, I'm actually interested because I don't know who you think the best wrestler of all time is.
Well, a lot of people say it's The Undertaker, and a lot of people say it's AJ Styles, and a lot of people will say it's Ric Flair, and a lot of people will say it's, whoever. But in my opinion, it's John Cena. It's Cena. Once again, you you look at his back you look at all of his career accolades. He's a 16-time world champion. He's coming back, I think, for SummerSlam. He's chasing number 17, championship ring number 17. And
I don't think it'll be number 17. I just don't see.
no, I didn't say he was going to win, but he's going to chase number 17.
But yeah, I don't see how that booking's going to go well, considering he'd have to be on a little more, and considering how much he's in debt with Hollywood now.
Oh God! Don't
And
you don't want to get me started on his whole thing with China, dude.
I,
You don't want to get me started on that. That whole
I haven't, I sort of heard about it. I haven't looked into it
that
because I particularly don't care about it. I mean,
he apologized.
he he's saving face. He's saving face because
Yeah,
he knows, hey, I still may have to go to China to shoot a movie.
he,
If I don't apologize, I'm not gonna make it out alive.
he's apologizing for something he doesn't need to apologize for. It was a stupid apology based on a simple mistake. He called Taiwan a
Yeah, I know. I
simple.
had
And I'm
heard.
like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, everybody makes mistakes. Move on. You didn't do anything wrong. You made a mistake. And then I find out that he apologized. He apologized like he fucking offended the King of England or something. I'm like, dude, it's China.
PR, PR. Like I said, save a face.
Oh, like I said, you don't get me started on that. But no, but no, Cena. You look at his career accomplishments, and you look at his body of work. You look at some of his best matches. He's had very very solid matches with guys like Punk, CM Punk rather, with guys like AJ Styles. Um, he can have really awesome wrestling matches. He can tell a story in the ring. He can certainly get emotion out of it. And just the mere sight of John Cena, you know this guy's somebody, and you got half of the people that like him, and you got half of the people that boo him. But whether you like him, whether you boo him, you're reacting to the guy. And that is what makes a superstar to me. And the thing to me that makes him the best in the world, in my opinion, is that he can adapt to like any wrestling style, and he can do it so very well. So that's why, in my opinion, John Cena is the best wrestler of all time. Um, but I see your argument for Orton, and currently, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, here, you know what? I'm gonna shift since we want to talk about, of today. Let's give our top fives of the best wrestlers of today.
Oh, my top five. Oh, okay. You want me to go first?
I'll go first because I'm gonna give you time to think because I
Okay.
just brought it upon you.
All right, go
All
ahead.
right, all right. Number one, obviously Orton.
Okay.
I mean, first and second are pretty close considering. I mean, it has hurt Orton considering a lot of his feud with Wyatt and Bliss was kind of just horrible.
Yeah, that was just a bad dream. That didn't happen.
Yeah, that but you still have to take that into account if you're going to count Omega's past with the doll
Yeah,
and the girl.
yeah.
So my
Orton had
second
both in
would
his
be,
feuds, so yeah.
I mean, so one and two could be switched. I mean, most people will agree with the top two, which would be Orton and Omega.
Okay.
Number three, right now, I feel like is Reigns. I mean, the dude has done it all. He may have been pushed down our throats, but he's a hell of a wrestler.
Okay.
All right, four. Huh. I'm about to say Okada. Definitely. Okada, everything he's done in Japan has been amazing. Five, AJ Styles.
You gotta give AJ the top five. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my top five is actually gonna be more. I'm gonna have some AEW guys, but my top five is gonna be very, WWE centric. So number five me would be Moose from Impact Wrestling. I think he's come a long way in his career, and he's really, really good. Number four for me, based off his promos alone, I got to go with Eddie Kingston. That guy is so entertaining with his promo. I love his promos. Uh,
As a wrestler,
as
not
a
top
wrestler,
five.
take him or leave him. He's average, but with his
Yeah, but
promos.
promo wise, if you were going with the promo, yeah, he's
Okay, so
number
you want
one.
to keep
I
it
mean, the
strictly wrestling.
dude.
Okay, well then in that case, number four would probably be AJ Styles for me. Number three would be Chris Jericho. Number two would be Randy Orton, and number one would be Roman Reigns. Jericho,
I mean, it's not a bad list. I mean, you got me worried at first when you went Moose,
yeah,
but I mean, towards the end, you hit it. Yeah, I mean,
Jericho at well, Jericho is 50 years old, and he's still doing what he's doing.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you
very
see,
surprising.
a lot of people. It's funny when Jericho was a heel, people were praising the heck out of the guy. But now he's a baby face, and now everybody's like poo pooing all over him. I mean, I'm just like, what are you
That's
doing?
I say wrestling community is just weird.
Okay, what's up with the wrestling community? The wrestling community is fickle, to put it
Yeah,
bluntly.
very.
I mean, the wrestling community, they want something, they get what they want. They claim that they never wanted that. And I'm just like, how does that make sense? You wanted CM Punk as champion. Guess what? You got Punk as champion. Oh, we didn't want CM Punk as champion. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Remember Money in the Bank 2011? By the way, if you want my opinions on that whole feud with Punk and Cena for Money in the Bank 2011, just go watch my last podcast I did with Brandon Yelverton because I gave my opinions on that, and they were very high praise opinions. Love that
As they
feud. I love that feud, and I love that match. Everything about it was absolutely perfect. But yes, got what you want. So then, so that's just kind of, and then they get what they want, and then they get tired of it. Like they get tired of it like immediately. Like that's another problem in pro wrestling is that people don't have patience to let, and I'm kind of guilty of this myself, where people don't have patience to let storylines develop, or let characters develop, or let certain things happen in stories. If that makes sense. Like you do an
yeah.
injury angle, well, people don't have the patience to wait that long. Or thanks to the internet, people know, oh, that injury's fake, and he's just going off to shoot a movie or whatever. I mean, the internet certainly has helped with that problem in pro wrestling as well. Let me see if I can rephrase that. The internet has certainly helped people lose patience because everything is now at your fingertips with the internet.
I agree.
Okay. Well, good conversation.
I mean, I was trying to think of a rebuttal, but I just ain't got one right now. I mean, yeah, there. Like I say, I just internet community just isn't very internet wrestling community. They're just they don't know what they want.
Right.
And some they they love it or they hate it. I mean, it's opinions.
Right. And then the other thing that gets me is when people say, well, AEW is better than WWE, or, well, WWE is better than AEW. Look. I don't know if you ever watch Wrestling with Regret. Shout out to that channel. But they have this saying on that channel: like what you like, don't be a dick. A lot of wrestling fans need to hear that, and a lot of wrestling fans need to apply that to their wrestling fandom. Like what you like, but don't be a dick about it. So, you like AEW? Great. Like AEW. Love AEW. Worship AEW. Whatever. But don't go after these guys because they don't follow AEW like you do. Because they don't like AEW like you do. Because they don't worship AEW like you do. Don't go attacking them for that because that's just their opinion. It is your opinion that AEW is the best wrestling company in the world. Same with WWE. Don't go bash with people who don't watch WWE. Don't go bash with people who don't love WWE. Don't do that stuff. You know, enjoy what you enjoy and don't worry about what others like or don't like, is what I'm saying. Basically, apply elementary school logic here. Mind your own business.
Yes, but that's culture nowadays. That's just the
Yeah.
culture. You
Yeah.
everyone's gotta have the same opinion as you. I mean, just look
Look at
at the
politics.
way things are nowadays. I mean, it's like you. Some pastors say you have to like Biden. Others say you have to hate Biden. Can we all just say, "Hey, he's here. Just take it as it is and move on."
Right. You're not going to change it at this point. He's here, whether we like it or not. Right? Say, and the
They
same
kind
with,
of stuck with you.
and the
They
same with
get kind of stuck with them.
Yeah, and same with Trump. You were stuck with Trump for 4 years. You didn't have to like him. You didn't have to love him. You didn't have to hate him. He was there, whether you wanted him to be or not. Um, so, uh, yeah, okay. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss?
I would love to hear your predictions on AEW Double or Nothing.
Okay, let me pull up the card real quick, and I will
I
give
mean,
my
if you need the
numbers.
card, I had found. Well, shit, no, I just lost it.
Let me see. I can pull this up.
I just had it.
AEW. What? It's not. Uh, what's the next? What's this one called? This pay per view? All Out?
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Wow, there's been three of those already. Damn. Anyway, so my pick. This is going to be on the pre-show. Serena D versus Riho for the NWA Women's Championship. I gotta go with Serena D. I don't see her dropping the title to Riho.
I agree. I had seen that. I had thought about it, and I just don't see NWA wanting a Riho,
Right.
considering how American they are. She would NWA is mainly promos.
Right.
They need someone that can cut promos. Riho cannot do English that well. I
Right.
mean, she was a great AEW Women's Champ.
Well,
Believable?
was she?
Not really.
How many times she's up in the belt? Was she that good of a champion?
I mean, she was decent. I don't know how many times, but it was better up with the whole, you know, what's her name?
Nyla Rose.
Uh, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't keep up. You know, I don't watch
No, no, I got you.
AEW NXT regularly, so I don't keep up with names.
Right.
I just remember that whole feud wasn't believable.
No, no,
I mean,
no, it wasn't.
I mean, Riho, what? She 90 pounds soaking wet, really?
Rey,
Against,
Rey Mysterio weighed more than her.
yeah, I mean, but you didn't have Rey Mysterio going up against, you know, these huge, labeled beasts and then beating them because
Yeah, he did. Didn't he beat JBL? Didn't he? Hasn't he beaten Big Show?
but
Hasn't he
yes, but
beaten?
they weren't beasts. They weren't like Nyla was. They weren't they weren't running through the whole competition. They weren't running through the whole locker room.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, okay.
It wasn't. Hey, I went through. They went through the whole entire locker room. Now it's Rey Mysterio's turn to get to face this beast who nobody can beat.
Gotcha. All right. Number two, match number two. This is just in the listing. I doubt this will be the number two match on the card. Uh, Kenny Omega defending the AEW World Championship against Orange Cassidy and Pac. And I'm going Kenny Omega. So he's not losing tonight. So
I don't see it either. I had as soon as I seen this, was trying to think. Okay, I don't see Omega dropping it, but who would Omega drop the belt to?
of these two guys, Orange.
No, no,
Oh,
no. Out of the whole AEW roster, if because I just said he isn't going to lose tonight.
okay.
Okay, so
Out of the whole
who's
roster,
so who would beat him? It has to be Hangman.
I was going to say Hangman.
They have that feud sitting there.
Yeah.
I think it's leading up because they're building Hangman up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it had to be Hangman.
Okay. Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. I'd love Shida's time as champ, but Britt needs to win here.
Yes, I agree, and I'm sure Mark Madden would be very ecstatic if Britt won because he is actually a huge fan of Britt Baker. I would
I am too.
suggest you look up afterwards on YouTube and everyone else watching. It was a very short podcast on YouTube, but it was very good. It was the best wrestling show, and it'll have its own thing. It may have a period at the end, but it was with Mark Madden and Mike Mansuri. Mansuri, who used to work for WWE before the pandemic, he was let go and he was working with McAfee. Mansuri was a producer. He had very hands on. He had in the truck. He worked closely with the McMahon and the Duns, all that. They gave very good insight, and there's a few good stories. Mark Madden gave some great stories about Brian Pillman before the show abruptly ended because Mansuri moved on to bigger and better things.
Match number 4 is Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson versus Anthony Ogogo with QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, and Aaron Solov.
Yes, Solo.
Cody's winning. Okay, Solo. Cody's winning. Duh.
I have to agree. Cody thinks he's getting people over. At times he is. Sometimes he's not. Like I don't know what the whole weigh-in thing was. I had watched that clip. I didn't understand it.
Clip because I don't really care about weigh-ins. So,
but it was just sort of it
was goofy.
It was just horribly done. I mean, you had Big Show out there, Paul Wright, whatever the hell you want to call him. I mean, he's most known as Big Show. During the weigh-in, he had trouble with the scale. It would have been a little more believable if a referee was doing the scale and Show was just the host. He was building this whole fight up.
Okay. Number 5. Oh, I might watch that clip if I get bored. Number 5. Match number 5. This is the big clusterfuck match here. So, oh boy. Okay, here we go. I gotta look closely here. Number 5. It is a casino battle royal for a future AEW World Championship match. Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Penta El Zero Maito versus Jungle Boy versus Matt Hardy versus Mark Quinn versus that's how he spells his name. Okay. Versus Isaiah Cassidy. No, I always thought he spelled his name Marquinn. He spells it Marquuen. That's unique. Versus Isaiah Cassidy versus the Blade. Where's the Butcher versus Evil Uno versus Colt Cabana versus Preston Ten Vance, whoever that guy's supposed to be, versus Griff Garrison versus Brian Pillman Jr. versus Max Caster versus Anthony Bowens versus QT Marshall versus Nick Camarado versus Dustin Rhodes versus Lee Johnson versus TBA, whoever TBA is supposed to be.
To be announced. It's supposed to be a mystery, in which I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe Andrade, but I don't know. I just don't know who it'd be. I mean,
who would be your pick to win the Battle Royal with the names given?
I'd have to say Jungle Boy. I mean, it's his time. You've got to start pushing this dude.
Yeah. You say Jungle Boy, I'm gonna go with a different name. I'm gonna go with one that's way out of left field, but he's a very popular topic in wrestling right now. And I would go with the son of Brian Pillman Jr.
Yes, very, very yes, but I just don't see AEW. Pillman is great.
He's not going to win the world title. No.
I know, but it. I don't know how you would even build it. I mean,
well, you could say
Jungle Boy. You need Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy needs this so he could be pushed more, because you could tell they're trying to prime him up to be a big star. And Brian Pillman, I don't see that happening with AEW. I feel like maybe somewhere down the line, Varsity Blondes win the tag titles as a placeholder for someone that's going to hold the title way longer. I would say, as you would say, a short title run.
Excuse me. Okay. Match number 6. Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage. Battle of the Cages. This should be a cage match. I'm going with Adam Page.
Yeah, this is for the FTW title too. On
the Wikipedia page it just says Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage.
I think it's for the FTW title.
It says it's just a singles match. It doesn't say title.
I don't know. I don't keep up. I'm looking at something too. It doesn't say that either, but I had thought that's what it was. I may be wrong. I know there was something before they were supposed to fight for the FTW title, but yeah, if it's not for the title, Adam wins. If it's for the FTW title, I don't see.
I still see
it going off somebody.
I still see Adam Page.
Not on Team Taz.
If it's for the FTW title, I still see Page winning. I don't see Page putting Cage over. Boy, I say that 3 times fast. Okay.
Oh yeah, I just thought of this now. I'm slow with thought here, but you just mentioned it'd be funny. It's funny how we have different picks for the Battle Royal, and you picked Pillman, and I'm wearing a Pillman shirt.
There you go. Okay, so matchup number 7. Miro versus Lance Archer for the AEW TNT Championship.
And which they're apparently keeping that name, even though they're moving to TBS. But
they'll probably just call it the TNT Championship. But Miro is my pick to win. I think he's going to retain. But this match is going to be a big battle between big.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard hitting. Very.
Oh God! Oh, it's going to be physical.
Very stiff.
People are going to, they're both going to have bruises walking out of this match.
Oh yeah, because I just said it'd be very stiff. They're going to hit each other very hard.
God, yeah.
But either one could win, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe Archer.
Well, Miro just won the belt. I don't see him dropping it this early, so I got to go with Miro.
I mean, you just see how erratic the Miro booking was. He's the best man. Working with Kip, then boom, he's into the TNT title match. But I mean, yeah.
Okay. The matchup number 8, the Pinnacle, which is MJF, Wardlow, Shawn Spears.
That's the clusterfuck.
Oh God, yeah, Pinnacle, MJF, Wardlow, Shawn Spears, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood versus with Tully Blanchard versus the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz in a Stadium Stampede match where the stipulation is that the Inner Circle loses. They must go their separate ways. This team, known as the Inner Circle, is no more. They're all done if they lose this matchup at Double or Nothing tonight on pay-per-view. Um,
Apparently, this match is not going to be all cinematic, which worries me. How I'm guessing the cinematic part is mainly going to be with Jericho. Says Jericho's got to be very cautious because he's working with a dislocated elbow.
yeah.
In fact, he's not going to be cleared. He's
His
not
elbow
cleared
is
for this.
legitimately dislocated.
Yes, he dislocated it on the fall.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, on
Okay.
that big fall out the cage.
So that bump was more brutal than it looked. Okay then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The whole poof, apparently, the whole airbag, it didn't help his elbow.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, he was after the match. It was a timetable of 4 to 6 weeks before he'd be cleared.
And
it took about 4 weeks, and he done said he wasn't going to be able to be cleared. That's why he's still wearing that brace.
Okay. Well then, you know what? That just changed my pick because I was originally going to go with the Circle to win based off the stipulation, but I believe that Jericho, but I believe that the Pinnacle somehow wins.
See,
This match
is what you call a hat on a hat, really, in this feud. This feud should have been over. A lot of people, I'm sure, agree. It should have been over at Blood and Guts. It should have maybe went on longer, but yeah, it should have stopped at Blood and Guts. It's no need. I mean, you're really just putting a hat on the feud.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see Inner Circle breaking up at the moment. I'm gonna have to go with Inner Circle.
All right.
I don't think a lot hurts the Pinnacle as much, considering this doesn't hurt them at all if they lose.
Okay. Match number 9. Sting and Darby Allin versus Sting and Darby Allin are winning. It doesn't matter who they're facing. It's Sting. They're facing Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and Sting and Darby are winning. This will be a nothing match. This will be a throwaway. This will be a whatever.
I mean, this on the buy-in instead of D versus Riho. I'm sure you'd get more buys that way.
And finally, the Young Bucks versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. For those of you who have been living under a rock and don't know who the Young Bucks are, let me say their names: Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. And they are the champions heading into this match against John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And John Moxley's been in the news lately. I don't know if you followed this story, Zach, but John has been in the. I guess he went back to CZW and had a match with his buddy Nick Gage.
He didn't have a match. They've been teasing a match. He a month or two ago, I think it was WrestleMania weekend, they started this feud where Mox had attacked Cage or Gage. I mean, it's whatever. It's Nick. I mean, the last name really don't matter. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago, same thing happened again, but Gage got the better of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even a match. It's just pop-ups just leading towards a match. And I thought you was going with Mox put out a book, and he pretty much sold it for with 6 words. I forget what the words he used, but yeah.
So my pick for this one, I've said this since they started teaming up. John Moxley and Eddie Kingston should be champions, the tag champions. So they're my pick to win here.
I agree. I just don't see the Bucks going on anymore. It's sort of a good feud, but I don't see how you're not going to let Moxley Kingston win.
Right.
Even though I'm sure the Bucks probably pitched a fit. I forget what.
Whoa. They are the EVP, so they do have creative control over whether they win or lose. So let's keep that in mind.
All of them have creative control.
Yeah.
The fuck you mean? I mean, the whole entire roster has creative control.
Riho.
Just recent,
even Riho.
I mean, a lot of them are getting overpaid.
Facts.
Some of them are getting 6 figures when they should really be getting maybe 4.
Yeah.
I
don't know much about contract situations.
I don't know either. It's just what I've heard that some of them have been overpaid. It's like an Orange Cassidy, I think it's getting 6 figures.
What?
I think so. I may be wrong, but I think I remember.
Bro, if Orange Cassidy is getting 6 figures, I'm doing something wrong with my life. Oh god, this is the best place to end off the podcast right here with that news. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Seibelmania Friends podcast with your host, Seibelmania, and my good friend, Zach. Zach, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you again in the near future, man. But until next time, this is Seibelmania. I'm signing out. We're out. Peace. Oh, wait. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Take 2, guys. Okay. I'm Seibelmania. This is Zach. We are signing out.